So you're sitting there on your Carnival cruise, drink in hand, finally relaxing on a long-awaited vacation. But just as you're about to take that first glorious sip, out of the corner of your eye, you catch a glimpse of somebody watching you very closely. No, it's not just another cruiser who thinks you're darn good looking. This time, it's Carnival's brand new drink detective, keeping tabs on every sip you take. That's right, Big Brother has gone maritime. Let's roll the intro. Hey, welcome to the Midships channel. It's your Captain Corey. Today, we're diving into Carnival's latest plan to monitor your drink choices with their new Sip Sergeant at Arms, aka the cruise line's new alcohol monitor position. I'll be breaking down what this means for you and sharing a few tips for staying off their radar, and of course, throwing in a fun story of my own from the Alchemy Bar. Let's get into it. So here's the scoop. Carnival Cruise Line just posted this, a job listing for a Cocktail Constable of sorts, an actual role dedicated to watching just how much guests are drinking on board the fun ships. Officially, it's called the RSA Supervisor, or in other words, somebody who looks to see how much alcohol you're serving on board. But we're just gonna call this person the booze boss for now. Their mission? Well, according to the job description, it's to monitor and enforce responsible drinking behaviors on board. They'll work with the bartenders to make sure guests aren't getting a sip too far. And if they spot any rowdiness or overindulgence, well, this person is going to step in. Now, let's be real. Cruise lines, Carnival included, have always kept an eye on alcohol consumption. But this, it's like kind of taking it to the next level. Imagine ordering your new drink only to have the liquor looky-loo strolling by looking at you, casually observing what you're having and how much of it you've had. It's kind of like having your own personal cocktail chaperone, only you're an adult, not a child on a hayride, so that's kind of weird. And for those of us who like to enjoy a more laid-back evening at the bar than just throwing drinks down, this is gonna feel a little bit like overkill, casting the shadow over the perfect drink. And I'm not talking about a dark and stormy. Speaking of enjoying your time at the bar, or the Alchemy Bar, wherever, did you know that you could be doing it while wearing this awesome Cruise Nerd shirt from the Midships Amazon store? This one right here, take a look at it. It's a great way to show off your love of cruising while supporting me and my work. Check it out. There's a link in the description and down below this video. Let's get back to it. Here's where things get a bit more interesting. On one hand, the Cocktail Constable is clearly meant to promote safety on the fun ships, which is great. But on the other hand, how is it going to actually feel to have someone constantly monitoring your drink intake on your vacation? I can kind of see it now. You're sitting there, maybe at the piano bar with your friends or family that you're cruising with, drinks in hand, having a great time, listening to the music, when suddenly a shadowy, imposing figure pokes their head into the bar, iPad in hand, looking at everybody that's drinking. Maybe they take a picture of some individuals. Yeah, that could be kind of weird and a little bit jarring. I'd imagine some people may be reassured by it, but for the most part, it's going to be a lot like having Big Brother keeping tabs on your little umbrellas sitting in your drinks. If the thought of having a beverage babysitter has you feeling a little paranoid or a little weird, here's a few tricks to help you keep a lower profile while still enjoying that drinks plan to the fullest. Number one, moderate your sips. The Cocktail Constable is likely going to be focused on folks who hit things a bit too hard and a bit fast. So keep a steady and relaxed pace to stay off their radar. Think like a drink an hour. Number two, blend your booze with non-alcoholic drinks. Order your cocktail or your beer, but then mix in some non-alcoholic drinks, some juice, water, or sodas. It helps you pace yourself, and it's going to give the impression that you're being a good, upstanding cruiser. And by the way, you'll stay hydrated along the way in that Caribbean heat. Number three, get friendly with your bartenders. Seriously, these cruise bartenders are some of the nicest people on planet Earth, and a little friendly chat with them never hurts. Bartenders are pros at reading the room and knowing what's going on, even before you do. And being their friend means they're more likely to give you a heads up when the liquor looky-loo is nearby looking at you. Plus, who doesn't like being friends with the bartenders, getting that little extra heavy pour? You know what I'm talking about. This brings up a bigger question though. Are we heading into an era of increased onboard monitoring? Well, Carnival, they seem to be taking alcohol service very seriously. And while this is just one job role, it does make you kind of wonder, are we going to start to see other supervisors popping up around the ship? A sun chair sheriff making sure no one's saving lounge chairs down by the pool, or maybe a buffet boss making sure you ain't taking too much food on your plate at once at the buffet on the Lido. Okay, I might be exaggerating here, but after all, cruising has always been about feeling the freedom to let loose and indulge a little bit more than on land. It's all part of the experience, and no one wants things to get out of hand, but we don't want too much supervision that could totally change the vibe of what makes a Carnival cruise so special. Let me tell you a little story that might help paint this picture. I was on the Carnival, I think it was the Liberty, a few years ago. And after a long day of excursions out in Cozumel, I was winding down in the hot tub up on the Serenity deck and going up to the bar to order drinks. The bartender handed me a fresh tequila sunrise, a great drink to enjoy hot tub side out on your cruise. I was just relaxing there when suddenly security came up and started looking in my general direction. And I'm sitting there like, oh, what's going on here? What they were actually looking at was the group of people who were also in the hot tub with me, who were around my same age or kind of demographic mix. So I kind of got thrown under the bus by security, who came up and asked me questions, thinking I was a suspicious person when they were looking at the folks that were with me. So Big Brother kind of killed the vibe for me, and I ended up leaving. It was kind of a weird experience. I guess it turns out it was just sort of them looking after some people who were ne'er-do-wells, as some other folks call, but it kind of makes me wonder if this whole Cocktail Constable role is going to be amplifying that feeling for a lot of us all over the ship. Not that we're doing anything wrong, but it's weird to have somebody looking at you when you're not doing anything wrong. So here's the question. Is the new role, the booze boss, a helpful addition, or is it a bit too much? I don't think it's going to make a huge difference for most cruisers who aren't overindulging. But for those of you who are going to use all 15 drinks of your Cheers package, let's just say you're probably going to get to know the liquor lookout on your next Carnival cruise. So plan ahead of times. And hey, your time on the Midships doesn't end here. If you want to hear about some of the huge problems I faced on a recent Carnival cruise, well, click on over to this video next. It's a must watch before you set sail on the fun ships. We'll see you there.
La 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 la.